Welcome to this week's Coach's Corner feature as we're going to talk Ponca City winter sports with Chris Walker, our athletic director. The fall season is over with now, and we get set for basketball, wrestling, and swimming. And I know the weather outside is as cold as the winter sports, so I guess we're ready to go, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. It is cold outside, and when its temperature starts dropping, you start thinking about those winter sports, wrestling, basketball, and swimming.
We had a good fall, didn't we, Chris? Girls softball, football won 3 games this year. Volleyball's on the uprise. Cross country has a lot of participation. Just a quick evaluation of maybe our fall sports.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like with our football team, obviously, last year we went. We didn't win any games, and this year we win 3, so I think that was a huge improvement. It's not where Josh Allen wants to be or that coaching staff, but I think it's a huge step in the right direction. With softball, I think they had another spectacular year. Got to regionals and fell a little short there, but that doesn't take away from the outstanding season that they've had. Volleyball and cross country, again, that's one of the teams that you don't hear a lot about, but very solid programs. I think both coaches that we've got there do an excellent job, and great things are to come from both of those sports. I know that both of them are looking. They've got some young kids that they look to really step up over the next couple of years.
And the participation in volleyball and cross country is off the charts. A lot of kids are involved, and the bottom line as an educator and in athletics, you want kids to participate. That's the main thing. There's going to be good, there's going to be mediocre, but if they're involved, then that's keeping them out of something else.
Absolutely. Too many times we forget that high school athletics, it's about the participation. It's about what the kids learn. It's about the experience of high school athletics, becoming a part of a team. I like to tell them it's turning young boys and young girls into young men and young women. And it was fun to watch the softball. I've been the athletic director now for a couple of years, and when I first started going to volleyball games, there was a small student section. And this year, we had to get extra, administrators down there because we had so many kids that were coming. And I just think that says a lot about our student body, says a lot about the athletic programs that, it's creating that kind of commitment and that kind of following. And that's just, that's the high school experience to me. Those are the thoughts that I remember from my high school days and that are the fondest for me.
Absolutely. Speaking of learning, this year or last year at this time, you were kind of learning on the fly, Coach, and now your second year. I know things have to maybe not be much easier, but you obviously have that year under your belt, especially as we go into this busy winter sports season where you have to be a lot more confident and a lot more comfortable with what's going on at Ponca City High School.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you start a new job, there comes some insecurities and some doubts and just, not being familiar with the new job. So I went through a lot of that last year, but, a couple things I had going for me. One, I've been a part of Ponca City Athletics now for 15 years, and I know the community really well. We've got an outstanding community that works well with our athletic program, so that's a huge plus, which makes it easy. And then Dwight Winburn, there's not enough that I can say about that man. He did an excellent job of just giving me a great foundation to build from. Just an outstanding man. And then the last thing, a couple more things, but we have a great coaching staff that's easy to work with. I think we're all headed in the right direction. And then the last thing is I've always got Rusty Benson just a phone call away.
Absolutely. I haven't heard Rusty's name in a while, but every once in a while I run into him. But you do fall back on athletic directors who have been through this, and you hire them. Not all of them, you inherited a lot of them, but the coaches, you have to put a lot of trust in those men and women to do their jobs, and I know it's easy for you to do that in Ponca City because they all do it pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a great coaching staff, very professional, and mistakes can be made, but we trust in our coaching staff, and if mistakes are made, we try to correct them the best we can, and you look at it from what's best for the kids, and we try to move on.
2 weeks from when we're recording our program, we start the wrestling season at home, and then 3 days later we have the first basketball games at home. So it's coming very quickly. I know they've had a lot of practice time in the gym, a lot of scrimmages, but our regular season for basketball and wrestling is right around the corner.
Yeah, it definitely is, and that's a really busy time for the athletic program, because you've got just about every night you've got somebody in the gym or somebody swimming out at the the Y or traveling. It is a busy time for us during the winter, but I'm sure those kids and coaches are looking forward to it, because you can only practice so long, and then they start wanting to compete.
You know this well as our former wrestling coach, but you got to get those football players in. A lot of them participate in other sports, and that's just the nature of schools like Ponca City and those that you've been associated with over the years, is that we rely upon our kids not to play just one sport, but they have to be talented in all sports, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Ponca City, being in 6A, we go against teams like Tulsa Union. When you break down their student ratio, it's the 4 kids to 1. They have 4 kids to every one of ours, and so they can have kids that specialize in one sport, whereas in Ponca City we can't. We to be competitive, we've got to have multiple sport athletes, and we've got to encourage that as a coaching staff. We've got to want those athletes to go and experience other sports. And I can tell you this, looking at recruiting practices for football and wrestling, a lot of those coaches are looking at, is this kid a solid athlete? And that, because they could take a solid athlete and turn them into a football player or a wrestler.
Absolutely. We didn't mention our swimming program, but Amanda's back to coach the swimming team this year. I think they've actually already started their season, too.
Yeah, they've gotten started, and Amanda does a great job, her and Coach Parks, and we're excited about their swim season. I know she sent me an email the other day and said that she's really looking forward to this year. She's got some really big bright spots on her team, so I look for them to have a good year as well.
Coach, let's talk about the finances of our program, because this year we know that 4 football games is one less football game than normal. Football finances a lot of our sports. But how important is it for our fans to recognize that this winter and make sure that we get the most out of all of our home dates as far as our winter sports is concerned?
Yeah. The financing, without getting too technical, a major part of the athletic department is funded by our gates. And football, obviously, is the biggest gate that we have. And, you would think as an athletic director, knowing that, you wouldn't schedule just 4 home games. But actually what took place was when they did the redistricting, and we had some prior commitments, it forced us into that 4 home dates. And so it definitely, we're going to fill it next year significantly. And so, as a community, I'd like to just encourage you guys to come out as much as you can with these winter sports, and hopefully that'll offset a little bit of that cost.
And absolutely, I think that's a good point, is that Ponca City was in a tough situation where they had 1 home game in non-district and 2 non-district games that were on the road. And then when they did the districts and Division II and 6A football, it was a 3 and 4 separation. So nobody's ever going to just schedule 4 games on purpose. But it's my understanding that we get 6 home games next year, and then probably you'll be able to fall into a 5 and 5 after that.
Yeah, definitely. Next year we're going to have 6 home games, and then after that we're going to work real hard to find teams so we can split it again, like 5 away and 5 home.
Absolutely. But again, as Coach said, this winter, it'd be nice to see a big crowd and a full crowd for all these events. And I interviewed Jason last week, and I interviewed Coach Hibbler the week before, and there's a lot of optimism. The scheduling is a little bit different now. I know that, some of the teams that traditionally we have played, we don't play, but that doesn't mean the competition's any less because, as you well know, all these homeschool teams and these private schools, they continue to get better and better athletes, and they are really, really talented. They're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Matter of fact, one of the homeschool basketball teams that we're going to play has some of the top-ranked basketball players in the nation, and they're not under the same guidelines and rules that public schools have to follow with the OSSAA. So, they can offer. They can get some of these kids to move in, whereas we have what we have here in Ponca City, and to touch back on inviting people out. Absolutely, financially, it's important for us to have people come through the gates, but more importantly, it's great for those kids to see you in the stands. I know that they feed off that, and it's just great to see the community support the kids.
Makes a big difference when they see a full section of people rather than empty seats in there. I know that you were a coach of our wrestling team, and I'm sure you noticed it too.
Oh, absolutely. The kids and the coaching staff. When you look up there and there's 50, 60 people less than what there was last time, you notice those things. And as an athletic department, we're really trying to market the athletic programs and the schedules better, and trying to turn them into events instead of just where you go sit in the seats. And so, we're trying some things.
Absolutely, and don't forget, you've got the beautiful Allen Robson Fieldhouse all redone. That is a great facility, and certainly I feel like our kids ought to think it's an honor to perform in there, because it really is one of the nicest facilities. Although it's almost 40 years old, it has been updated. It's one of the great facilities for basketball and wrestling in our state too.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in a lot of gyms throughout the state, and besides the Union Metrodome or UMAC, I think our gym stands up to anybody's gym. I think it, it's well. I know that it's well laid out. There's a lot of gyms that it's hard to get down on the floor, or it's the seats are uncomfortable, or there's not good view of the court. And I think the Robson Fieldhouse is, it's a good layout, and it's also has been well taken care of over the years.
No problem with any of that. Seeing where you're going to sit and watching the events and watching our great high school athletes participate in winter sports. Well, good luck to you. I know it's going to be busy. You guys are settling in for a lot of evenings where you work day and night, but it's a lot of fun, and we look forward to watching our athletes this winter during their swim, basketball, and wrestling competition. Chris, thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
Chris Walker, our athletic director at Ponca City High School, on our Coach's Corner feature this week.